In today's show, we do a fitness check on an all-Australian defender.
The coach answers questions from the fans.
Plus the trial game that caused a traffic jam.
That vindicated my decision to come home from Melbourne.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Optus Crows Show. I'm Alana Smith. Well, it's now been 5 weeks since the AFL pushed pause on the 2020 season. Players across the league are having to train in their own neighbourhoods with far less moral support from their teammates than usual. However, staying motivated shouldn't be a problem for Rory Laird. He's picked a training partner who is arguably the hardest worker at the club.
Laird, one-on-one with Hill, and you heard the applause.
You know, I'm going okay. I'm going pretty good. Stay in contact with a fair few of the boys and, you know, the PPT staff and the coaches. Spoke to Matty Nix on the weekend. You know, all of us are sort of keeping in contact one way or another. You know, Emma Barr as well, our PDM, has been really good. So I'm trying to keep myself busy. We've got a program sent out to us, which is, you know, running and weights. And I was lucky enough to steal some stuff from the club, which a few boys did. And then just sort of exercising as much as I can and as much as I need to. Studying a Bachelor of Business and downtime relaxing, you know, playing video games. Just taking it really easy, trying to make, you know, the best of a very unique situation. Been training with Jake Kelly a fair bit, Daniel Talia, Taylor Walker. We sort of had the first week where we didn't really know the restrictions and we trained as a 3 or 4, but then the government implied that we should be training in pairs, so we've all cut back to that. And yeah, I've been running with Jake because he's a great trainer, he's super fit, so being able to run with him has, you know, helped me, you know, stay fit. I obviously keep in touch with Brody, you know, the Crouch boys, Paul Seedsman, that kind of group, but we've been really good with the coaches and, you know, having big team chats and sort of getting everyone involved, especially the blokes that have sort of gone back into state, which makes it hard for them to actually go and see people. They're training a lot by themselves, or if they've got a brother or, you know, a sibling or whatever that they need to go and have a run with instead of training with the boys. So just a matter of keeping everyone sort of not accountable, but just, you know, in the know and trying to be as social as much as they can at the moment. As I said, it's very unique at the moment. There's not actually that much you can go and do. So, as I said before, the program that's been given to us gives us a lot of flexibility of when we can train and sort of something to do nearly every day that can sort of stimulate you throughout the mornings. As much as I struggle with uni at times, it sort of has kept me in good stead at the moment to try and be productive and do something like that.
Well, times are tough for everyone right now with the coronavirus impacting most parts of our day-to-day lives. The Crows family has proven it can push through adversity, and there is no better example than the aftermath of coach Phil Walsh's passing in 2015. The team battled on and not just qualified for finals, but recorded one of its most memorable victories. Thanks to the club's major sponsor, Toyota, which has been with the Crows since day one, we revisit that special night at the MCG.
Hands to it, Easterwood, Bontempelli, Wallace, will they get through to Jong? Jong gives it on to Hunter, Hunter over the top, Miss Cremery, here comes Redpath, Cremery hit over the footy, won it, a tackle applied there by Laird, it's held in, what do they do here?
I remember it started in the back pocket. Sloaney, like he always did, shoveled it out to myself, and then I jacked it out down the wing to Tex. I just saw the one-on-one down the line, and I knew we had to get it out of the D50.
Here's Lynch. So Adelaide off half-back, doing it nicely. Here it comes with Walker, gets rid of his man.
Yeah, Tex obviously stood up as skipper and took an amazing clunk, and then just wheeled and went, and I remember him, it was like poetry in motion.
Takes the contested mark, and then the big man has the poise.
I remember looking down the field and I didn't see anyone. I only saw JJ one out in the 50, and I didn't know if Tex was going to go the whole way and kick it himself or kick it to JJ, and then I just remember seeing this ball come off at right angles to his left, and out of nowhere Charlie Cameron was running straight towards goal, and I still get tingles down my spine thinking about that play, and for Tex to execute that kick under immense pressure and fatigue, it's still one of the best kicks I've seen in a game when I've been playing in.
Decides no, I'll go to Cameron instead, and Cameron has taken a mark.
And then for Charlie to go back in and kick the sealer was yeah, really special.
Adelaide lead by There's 7 points, 1:23 remaining. They keep their season alive. What an incredible season it has been for the Adelaide Crows. Nursed the ball over top, missed his intended target. Oh, and he got met high night.
Obviously awesome to be able to kick a couple of goals in a big game like that. And the second one on the boundary line, Tex came over to me before I kicked the goal and just reassured me that taking time and just go back and kick the goal. And was lucky enough I was able to kick a nice drop punt and luckily it went through, and the roar after that was like none other. It was a pretty special moment.
Look at the crowd, bigger than they anticipated here tonight, and he bends it brilliantly. Adelaide get another. I
don't think I've ever been that pumped after a goal before, so it was obviously a very emotional game, and it's just emotions got the better of me in that instance, I guess. There was a lot of people that actually travelled over for that game, a lot of family and friends and of the whole footy club, so to go down there, and obviously they knew the ride and the roller coaster we'd been on throughout the year, and to go down into the rooms and have everyone that we really cared about and loved the footy club down there celebrating the win with us was it was a really special moment, and to have my parents there as well to witness that moment was really special and something that I'll remember for a long time, yeah.
Coming up, a rare interview with former captain Tony McGuinness, who reflects on another defining moment in the club's history.
I think that was probably a surprise to everyone, but also the alert that the club is really here to stay and it was going to be a powerful, strong club.
Welcome back, I'm Mark Pickley. Now it's time for a blast from the past with one of my old teammates, Brett James. With the help of Bendigo Bank, we've gone into the Crows Show vault and found a story from a couple of years ago, where we caught up with the two-time premiership player on his Adelaide Hills farm.
Football has come full circle for Brett James. He started playing for Kersbrook as a 5-year-old, making up the numbers in the under-14s. Nearly 40 years later, he has no plans to retire.
Yeah, at the moment I enjoy my footy. Got a great bunch of blokes to play with, so I might as well keep going around. In
between his years with Kersbrook, Brett played nearly 120 AFL games, as well as more than 230 for Norwood.
You've got to be pretty lucky to be in the right place at the right time, and I was just one of those players that happened to have a few things go his way.
Brett says that after 4 years with Collingwood in the mid-90s, he was fortunate to finish up the Crows instead of joining his brother Roger at Port Adelaide. And his luck continued when he replaced an injured Tony Modra in the 97 grand final.
A lot of us were pretty young and hadn't really played finals, so it was just a bit of a whirlwind and obviously enjoyable, but we didn't really get perhaps what we'd done.
Remarkably, the next week he went back to Norwood and won the Sample flag alongside his brother. We
were Norwood fanatics, so to actually get back and play a flag in a flag at Norwood with your brother, which you kind of said you want to do when you're young, was one of those just perfect little things that happened.
Then came 98 and the reality of winning that first AFL flag finally sunk in.
Understanding in 98 what we had to do and being able to do it, particularly against North Melbourne, we probably understood just how big an achievement it was.
A fifth-generation Hills orchardist and sheep farmer, Brett James reckons he has the perfect lifestyle.
We're still pretty close to the city, so we've got a bit of a dual lifestyle, but in reality it's still the same. You work on the farm during the week and have a kick on the weekend and kind of a bit of a catch-up.
If you want to catch up on all the current day news, and let's face it, there is always plenty going on, then head to the Crows website, afc.com.au. You can find everything from breaking news to membership updates, as well as behind the scenes insights into what the coaches and players are up to. There's also lots of fun and entertaining content across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, so make sure you closely follow the Crows accounts. Plus, keep an eye on @The Crows Show on Twitter. Senior coach Matthew Nix is trying his best to stay connected with fans during the season layoff, and thanks to Thomas Farms, he's answering as many questions as he can. This week, Jamie Ball has asked if the club will be holding open training sessions so people can come and watch the team train once the threat of the coronavirus passes.
This week's question comes from Jamie, and it's a ripper around open training sessions. Look, Jamie, we'd love to have open training sessions as much as possible. At this point, there are some rules around what we can do out here at West Lakes, but we'll definitely be opening our training sessions as soon as we possibly can for our supporters and fans and our members to get down and watch us train. The moment we do get back into Adelaide Oval, we'll open the gates up. There's no hiding from our fans. We'd love to get you out there and help support us when footy does start back up. We'll definitely have to look at how many players we rotate through depending on how the season shapes up. It looks as though we're going to have to squeeze a number of games in towards the end of this year, depending on what time we do get back into it. So there's no doubt that if we're playing games every 4 or 5 days, we will be forced to play a few more players through that AFL side. You might see a point where a player plays 2 weeks or 2 games in a row and then has the third game where he might be rested. So that's a real positive for us. You'll be able to see some younger players get an opportunity. What you'll also see is some older players that we'll be trying to keep fresh for certain games throughout the year that are really important to us getting a result. Thanks, Paul. No worries about the shout out at all. Look, as far as keeping in contact with our players, we're doing a lot of stuff online, obviously through platforms like Zoom. We've had everything from cooking classes right through to line meetings. We've got a full team meeting this Friday where we're going to endeavour to get all 50 of our staff and players on the same Zoom and just have a little light-hearted conversation around what life means at this point. So it'll be interesting to see where our guys are at with that. It's really important at this time that we remain connected, and we've been able to do that really well as a group. Our line coaches are doing whatever they can to get in contact, as well as our welfare staff, making sure our players are staying healthy and both physically and in the mind at this really challenging time.
After the break, all roads led to Football Park as the South Australian public got their first look at the Crows.
That vindicated my decision to come home from Melbourne.
Clubs have identified the break from games as a real opportunity to gain a competitive advantage, with teams that can drive the most out of their training programs set to flourish when the action resumes. It's not an easy task keeping track of what the players are up to because many of them are scattered across the country. But with the help of Flight Centre, we thought we would try and find out.
Morning, 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 you lovely people out there. Delphin here, or Davo, or Ben, or David when I'm feeling a bit. Got a uppers session now that I'll complete, and see you after that. Signing out. I hope you've had fun.
Well, the Crows are blessed to have one of the most passionate supporter bases in Australian sport, and it's been that way since the very beginning. So much so that 45,000 people flocked to Football Park to see the club play its first ever practice game. As former captain Tony McGuinness points out, it was confirmation that South Australia's first AFL team belonged in the big league.
Welcome back to Football Park. As we said, an historic occasion here, the first ever match between the Adelaide Crows and last year's grand finalists, the Essendon Bombers. First tip to the Camry Crows through Romano Negri. No, but there should be a free kick for Lindsay. No, the umpires let the play go. Crows in full flight, straight at the big uprights, and there's the first goal of the match to the Adelaide Crows, and they're looking pretty good.
The first trial game that we ever played, which was the middle of February of the first year, 91, which nobody knew how many people were going to turn up, and I think 45,000 people turned up to a trial game against the Bombers at Footy Park in the middle of February, and I think that was probably a surprise to everyone, but also the alert that the club was really here to stay and it was going to be a powerful, strong club.
There's a siren, a tremendous victory, crowd rises as one. Graham Corns would be a very, very happy man.
Well, it was, a very, very productive hit out for us, as long as we don't get carried away with it.
Exactly. So, I mean, you're happy you won, but let's not get too over the top about it.
No, it doesn't mean anything, does it, really?
And of course, that then flowed through to the first game where the atmosphere was just electric, and you're playing last year's Premier, Hawthorn.
Gets it across to McGuinness, spins out once, twice, shoots. Oh, he's got it. What a goal. Handball back into the square.
It's a filled stadium and you win the game by whatever it was, 10 or 12 goals. So I think from the club's perspective and from a personal point of view, that vindicated my decision to come home from Melbourne. And I think from the club's point of view, that vindicated that they had the right to be in the AFL and they were going to be a powerful club. So those two games are my fondest memories.
Tony McGuinness, club champion, 1993.
Stay tuned, there's more to come after the break when we hear from some of the fans.
Footy fans can't yell their opinions from the grandstand on game day right now, but they are just as vocal on social media. Thanks to our good friends at Optus, we're going to highlight the words of support from those supporters who are using technology to stay connected to their club.
There's nothing like a blast from the past to get you through these times in isolation. Thanks to Channel 7's Footy Vault, a replay of the 1997 preliminary final proved a winner with fans on Twitter. The feedback even prompted former player Nigel Smart to chime in with his own words as he reflected on one of the club's finest ever wins.
That just about wraps up another Optus Crows Show, and we'll be back again next week on 7. In the meantime, check out afc.com.au to keep up to date with all things Crows. There is also the social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Bye for now.